Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. So excited to be back with you guys, and I'm excited to say that we are going to share our live Q&A we did last night on Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific on the new social audio app Clubhouse. And we've done that for the last few weeks. Really enjoyed it. And I would also really love to see more of you guys in there. It is such a cool way to connect and share and bring in a little bit more of the energy I've wanted to for a while, which is, you guys, your thoughts, your questions, your ideas. And just being able to interact with those that have shown up, I've super appreciated. And then what's cool is, some of my friends will stop by sometimes. Like, for example, on yesterday, Daniel Raphael stopped in for just a minute, who was, a Soul Share guest a few years back. And so you never know who's going to pop in with those rooms. So, if you guys aren't on that, on the Clubhouse app yet, it's very, very cool. Audio only, live, rooms that you can join. And we're going to be doing this consistently. You can see, for one, you got to, as of now, I think it's only on iPhone. Or Apple, iOS. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be expanding it to all the things ultimately. But for now, you do need an invite to get onto the app as they scale to make sure they don't crash everything. And then also Apple. So you can go and if you don't have an invite, you can put on a request to get one. So without further ado, I think I'm going to just go ahead and cut over to last night's recording. I hope you guys enjoy it. Some great conversations and topics and questions and ideas were floated around. And I hope you enjoy. And I don't think there's anything else that I want to add. If you want to see the schedule of when we're going to be doing this, you can go to goldenkey.gift, and we'll be putting the schedule of when the Clubhouse stuff is going to happen. And but as for now, it's every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific. So that's the plan. Let you know if it changes. In the meantime, hope you guys enjoy, and see you next week.
I'd love to just kind of open it up to everyone that's up here on stage. Let us know kind of who you are, and if you are, if you've already been following Brandon and you are familiar with the Positive Head podcast or his new book, The Golden Key, then feel free to ask him anything about those things that you've heard that's bubbled up for you. Or if you're unfamiliar with that and you were just drawn to the title of Keys to Abundance and Manifestation, feel free to just ask a general question about keys to abundance or manifestation, and Brandon will surely have some words of wisdom for you. So I'm just going to kind of go through with the people that I see on stage in order. So Saul, you were here first. If you want to speak or say something, please do.
Hey guys, nice to meet you all. My name is Saul. I currently work for a social impact company, and I was very attracted by the title more than anything. And it's great meeting you guys.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, it's nice to meet you too. Sorry, it's Saul. Am I saying that right now?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah, well, I'll continue down and just do, I guess I like how Saul did that, just a quick introduction of himself, and then we'll work back around and people can jump in with questions. So, Jamie, I see you're here as well. You want to give us a quick introduction?
Hi everyone. I'm Jamie, and I'm actually a mindset and manifestation coach. So I've been following the Positive Hit podcast for a few months now. I think like 1 month. I don't know why I haven't found that long ago, but I love the Positive Hit podcast, and I am actually currently reading The Golden Key, which is amazing. So I'm excited as to what you guys have to offer today.
Oh, yay. Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie. We're looking forward to connecting with you more.
Yay. Okay, Jonathan, you're up. Would you like to jump in and introduce yourself? All right, looks like Jonathan isn't there, so you can jump in later if you'd like to. Beta, you want to just let everyone know who you are if you are available?
Yes, of course. Hi, guys. My name is Beta. I am a friend and sister to Brandon and Karen. I met Brandon maybe 4 years ago, and he was much the catalyst of a lot of growth and personal development in my life, and just awakening and coming fully into myself. And we learned much later after becoming friends that I'd actually listened to his podcast, not realizing it was his. So if you haven't checked out the Positive Head podcast, highly recommend it, just for literally just mood setting in life. And yeah, I'm just here really as a fan of this conversation. I just love speaking about it, and I love listening about it. And so I'm here at your service.
Oh my gosh, I hadn't heard that story, Vita. That's funny that you didn't realize. Amazing.
I know,
Okay.
isn't that crazy? Of course,
Yeah.
the world would work.
Exactly. Oh, you're breaking up a little bit. So I'm going to keep moving on. Erica, some of you probably know her, but Erica, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah. So my name's Erica Middlemiss, and I guess I'll call it co-host, right, Brendan? I co-host the
Co-hostess with the
podcast.
mostest. I like it.
Yeah, even though it's like some days I'm not co-hosting, I'm just doing it by myself. So, but yeah, it's such a just honor to be able to do that and to be able to connect with all of you here as well. I'm just happy to be here.
Yay. Thank you for being here, Erica, as always.
Thanks, B.
All right. Awesome. Janice, would you like to come up and introduce yourself?
Hey, it's good to see you guys, and I saw some of your names up here and wanted to drop in and say hello. Really glad like Brandon and Karen, you guys both have jumped onto Clubhouse. I think it was when Beta had her 3-part series about conscious relationships, and there was just so much good wisdom from and a lot of things that I was like, yes, Brandon, like everything you were saying, it was just hitting the mark for me. So yeah, I took a lot of notes in those during that time, and I'm just glad to have found your room was happening right now.
Yay. So happy to have you here. It's so good to see
Yay.
your face again and hear your voice. And I'm just excited to connect further.
Yeah, I actually just pinged Jenner to see if she was around. I texted her this room was happening because
I was just texting with her.
Oh, I hope she can make it. Yeah, I sent it to her too.
Yay. I hope she does too.
Oh, yay. Perfect. All right. Cool. We have 2 more people on the stage. So Olivia, would you like to chime in and share a little bit about who you are?
Sure. I'm Olivia. I'm just kind of new here, so I'm just kind of tuning in to hear what you guys have to say. Everybody's like different inputs on the keys to abundance and manifestation kind of intrigued me. But yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And Olivia, to give you a little background, and or for anyone who doesn't know in the room, I just released a book called The Golden Key, Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. And so, yeah, you can actually, I'll go ahead and throw it out now. You can get it with, basically I'm offering it as a gift with, if you have a key code. And I set one up called just for this app, Clubhouse. So if you go to goldenkey.gift, you digging anything that you're hearing here, it's all distilled there in the book, and you can download it freely with the code Clubhouse on the website.
Sweet, thanks.
My pleasure.
All right, Olivia, glad to have you here. And then last up but not least, we have Richard. Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Hey, I'm Richard. I'm based out in LA, and I saw that my friend Saul was here, and also the title of the room intrigued me, so I'm just here to listen and hear what you guys have to say.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Richard.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys all for introducing yourselves. Oh, Jonathan, I saw your mic unmute. Are you back? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Jonathan. I'm in Emeryville. I have a very poor signal here. That's why it's not picking up so well, and I haven't been able to figure out how to get a better signal yet. But that's part of abundance, I guess.
And
Great
Jonathan,
we're hearing you abundantly.
Yeah, Jonathan,
Excellent.
is this the same Jonathan that joined us on the Zoom on Sunday?
I did, yes. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Good to see you again, Jonathan.
Great to see all of you.
Great. Yeah, that's something else that we've been doing. We're trying really a lot to, again, just have Brandon be able to connect more with people directly. And so we have a Zoom that we're doing monthly on Sundays. The next one, I'll have to look at the date and I'll let you guys know later. But if you enjoy this conversation, we dive a little bit deeper in those conversations as well. It's just another format if you're interested. But yes, anyways, having said that, so glad to have you all here. So now I just like to open it up for anyone to just jump in and again ask away, ask your questions, ask Brandon anything about the book or manifestation or abundance or anything.
Yeah, and let me add to that. As much as I love to hear myself talk, and I have a lot to say and a lot of ideas about this stuff, I also part of the idea with these Clubhouse sessions is to get other perspectives as well. And I know Erica has so much good to offer, and Beta and Karen, people that I know really, really well. And I imagine some of you on the stage as well have great stuff to offer. I like to say we are each other's medicine. So it could be someone asks a question, and Saul has actually the best response for Janice's question, and so I just want to make sure everyone knows that they're free to chime in.
I would like to add something, like maybe before we start, like what is manifestations for each person? I think like based on my experience, every time I've read a couple books or discussed what manifestation is, everybody has a different definition. So maybe what is it for each person? That way we can like start a conversation around it.
That's a great place
I
to
think
start.
that's a great starter. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Well, I will. Hey, Daniel, the Magic Man has appeared. What's up, buddy?
Good to see you all.
So you just popped on the stage, and Saul asked, "What does manifestation mean to you?" And since you just jumped on right as he asked this question, Daniel is quite the manifester, and I would love to just hear your thoughts.
Sure. Well, to me, manifestation means it's the perfect reflection of our current frequency and perspective on life and who we are. So we're manifesting all the time, and we're manifesting both from our consciousness and our subconscious, and our subconscious may not be aligned. And so the question maybe is, a lot of people want to manifest more of what they actually desire. And the key to that is to surrender, because any challenges that come up are actually the perfection reflecting back to teach you and realign you and prepare you for what you've asked for. So the more that we embrace a surrendered life, the gap closes between our intent and the manifestation of our dreams.
Yes, lovely. Beautifully said. It makes me think of the way I will often put it is, you hear people say sometimes that expectation is the enemy, and I don't really believe that expectation is the enemy. We can set an expectation with a healthy sense of detachment to what it is that we are calling in to manifest. And Daniel, you said it really well. It's like, you have these subconscious parts of self that are contributing to what it is that shows up in your life, in your movie. And there's so many factors at play. Your vibrational offering currently, last week, last month, 10 years ago, maybe other lifetimes. It's like there's so many, the conscious, the subconscious, all these things at play. And I think that's where Daniel's wisdom of surrender and trust the process. You're going to do the best you can with where you're at, with what you've got, to manifest and create the outcome that you perceive to be your highest excitement and the best the best thing for you. And there's a bigger picture at play, a bigger game at play than maybe, I always say your higher self can see the chessboard in a way we simply can't. And so, as those things appear that maybe aren't in line what we were intending to manifest, that's where the surrender piece that he's referencing comes in big time. And the more you can make that a part of your formula, make that part of your recipe, I think the quicker you get to things that you really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Who else has some thoughts on this foundational question?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts about what it is, and it might be controversial with some people out here. But for me, manifestation is more kind of like a reminder of goal setting. Because, I mean, there's been times where, quote unquote, I've tried to visualize something that is maybe a little bit delusional or out there. And I realized that the key to manifestation is not like, in my version, is not about being in the same vibration or one thing, but it's actually to overcome the adversity that the universe puts you. And if you're not willing to take on that adversity, then you're not able to like manifest. That's my definition of what manifestation is.
Yeah, I would say smooth seas never made for a skilled sailor, and we came here to be skilled sailors. So yeah, a lot of times this adversity is really just helping us to sharpen our axe, or something that we're intending to manifest, and we all of a sudden get diverted in a way, or fall flat. And it's like oftentimes we're being protected from something that really isn't ideal for us. And so, I don't think the adversity is bad. It is divine, just like getting exactly what you want. Who else has some thoughts on this topic? I know there's some folks in here who have some opinions on this.
I would like to go and give my opinion. So to me, manifestation is about reprogramming the subconscious mind, because our thoughts are really powerful. And to me, manifestation is our thoughts creating our reality. And oftentimes when, I see my clients or even in me trying to manifest, a lot of these limiting beliefs start coming up. And we go back to, that limited mindset of I'm not good enough or this will never happen to me. So to me, it's more of overcoming those limiting beliefs. How can we balance those beliefs out and replace them, rewire our brains and replace them with thoughts that actually serve us instead of limit us?
I love that. I'd love to ask you a follow-up question, Jamie, to that.
Sure, sure.
Because I definitely agree. I think it's, it really what it is rewiring the brain to not have those limiting beliefs and not, really that's is a key to manifestation. But I think where a lot of people have difficulty, and I know where I personally have found challenges, is okay, I know that I need to do that, but the negative thoughts still come in. So what are some tips that you have of actual actions that somebody might be able to take to really start to work towards this, to rewire their brain in this way?
Ooh, I love that question. We're going deep in there. To me, I think, whenever a negative thought comes up, it definitely comes from somewhere, right? It comes from a root cause. And oftentimes it happens in our childhood. So a lot of people, do, healing work, and they go back to that childhood trauma. And by trauma, I don't mean like a huge event like abuse or anything that can only be claimed as trauma. Sometimes a small t trauma could be like maybe your parents shouting at you or they're fighting and you experienced that. That is, in a way, kind of a traumatic event for like an 8-year-old child as well. And that could affect certain beliefs that you have. So for me, it's about the first step, asking, what am I feeling and what are these negative thoughts. So let's say, for example, that I want to do a public speaking event, right? But I have the fear that I'm going to stumble on my words and I have stage fright. Then it's about asking, like, why am I scared of speaking in front of so many people? And maybe think about what usually triggers this fear when I'm standing on stage. So it could be maybe your, parents, your mom was, asking you to not stop talking because you weren't making any sense. And maybe that could be a root cause of your current belief that you can't speak properly. So it's about balancing out that event, that perceived negative event. Because why I use the word perceive is that I believe that everything that we experience, well, there's the law of duality, and everything that we experience is dualistic. So there's the positive as well as the negative. But a lot of times these negative thoughts comes in because we perceive certain things as only negative. So it's about going back to that specific event and thinking, what have I learned through this, instead of just only seeing the negative in it. I hope I make sense.
Yeah, that makes great sense. It makes me think of the the idea and the concept of rewriting the past. So taking a story that a lot of times we can take a particular event and really make it, this happened and I was abused, for example. And you can take that same exact, whatever that instance is, and say, oh, I was struck in the face. And they're very different energies tied to it. So I think a lot of times people's manifestation abilities are stunted because they have these powerful stories tied to a particular event, when if they could see it from a more neutral perspective, without all the labels and attachment and emotions attached to it, it really helps to free up our energy to manifest, as opposed to fester and cause more pain within us. And I think that's something that, if you, I would challenge anyone listening to go back and look at anything that you have, any story that you've told for a long time that really has hurt you or harmed you or disempowered you or would be considered traumatic, and consider rewriting the story, actually changing the past. And the energetic ramifications of doing that is profound. So many things are holding people back, based off of, I can take an example of something in my own life where that it was, there was some betrayal in a business relationship with myself and my brother, both affected. And my story around it creates, I believe it happened for me, not to me. And it was actually, gives me the opportunity to experience this thing called forgiveness and rise above sort of what happened. And in his case, it's more, there's a lot more pain attached to it still. Oh, what's happened? Oh, okay. Someone's mic is on. I thought someone was trying to speak out. So yeah, just make sure mute your mic, please. So yeah, that is something that I would just like to offer and invite everyone here to do, is to really, look at all of these things that hold us back, and that absorb our energy and cause, ultimately, like in his case, there's a lot of anger around the situation, and those things, disease is dis-ease. It's like this festering energy in our body, and instead of using that same powerful life force to create and manifest more beauty in life, it can really do the opposite.
Yeah, actually, Brandon, this is a really great thing to go into. It's one of my favorite topics that you talk about is languaging and the words that we use. I think you were the first person that I ever learned the translation of abracadabra from, which is I create what I speak. And right around that time, a few years ago, when I learned that, I started really paying attention to the words that I use to describe certain situations as they're happening. So right now you're talking a little bit about languaging around past events, right? And reframing a past event to understand it differently based on how you describe it. And I would go even further by saying that you can actually create it as it's happening, right? So as things are happening, you can say, oh my God, like, why is life always happening to me? Or like, oh, this thing is just like the death of me. Or like, just words that we use, like even when we laugh and we're just like, oh my God, I'm dead. The vibration in those words actually sends signals and messages to the cells in your body. And it frames that instant in the way that you verbalize it, right? And so I would love to hear you talk a little bit on that, because I've learned so much from you about languaging and the way that we speak. And I think there's so much goodness there for everybody listening.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's so true. It's like everything carries a vibration. And it's, we say, people will be like, oh, you killed that. I always look for creative ways to change it. You skilled that. And there's if you get creative, and I'm not going to say if you use the word you killed that, you mean it in a positive way that good can't come out of it. But if everything
just got to jump in. My favorite one is feed two birds with one scone. Everyone
someone actually gave me
one.
that. I think I put someone on the podcast. I was seeking a new phrase, and I was like, come on, I know there's one out there. I feel like I've heard one. And then someone wrote in, so hopefully they'll hear this. But you can constantly take it and spin it and find new ways to say it. And so I always encourage everyone to start paying close attention to, even something as simple as, oh, I have to go do this. No, you get to go do that. And when you just see subtle differences can make such a huge difference in, the vibrational pool that we're playing in, and therefore what it is that we actually see show up in our world. If you think of everything you offer, every thought, every statement is adding to, the pot that you're cooking up, what you'll see next in your life, then you want to put as much good ingredients in there as possible. And that is things that really have, high vibration, things that are going to, if that's what you want to see more of in your life, and that's the thing, is there's people also who, it's serving them in their evolution to experience darkness or hardship or any of those things. That's where their soul is an eternal being that has free will and wants to taste that piece of, of reality, of existence. We've never seen a painting, a great work of art, without shadow in it. So, it also is important for us not to judge and say, you've got to play in this pool, you've got to play in this pond. For me, I'm in a lifetime where I really want to experience myself in the highest vibrational, greatest expression of what is possible if I'm really tapping into that nurturing, loving, positive vibration. What can I create with that if I'm really tapping into it? And if you're really looking to tap into it, one of the key things is to start really paying attention to your words or your wands, your spelling. You're casting a spell every time you speak, and that is such a important part of manifestation. And it's fun, actually, once you start. It's like everything, as you train yourself to look at and self-examine more frequently. I can think back to, years back, someone would tell me I was wrong, and I was like, I'd never been wrong. Are you kidding me? And then you get where it's like you actually find joy in in self-examining and being able to correct and admit when you're wrong and learn from others. And yes, you can maybe play the teacher at times, but you're also going to play the student at times, and humility and all these things. These are just all part of the, all the ingredients to get really good at what I believe is the next great art form on our planet, is the art of manifestation. Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a moment to tell you a little bit about my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. The concept for the book initially came to me in a dream and has been followed by a next level amount of synchronicity, confirming for me that the information in the book is pertinent to get to the world at this moment in our collective evolution. In the book, I share the 8 keys to manifesting abundance that I've personally discovered over 25 years of trial, error, and deep exploration, including one golden key that ultimately ties them all together. I think most of you will agree with me that talk is a bit cheap, especially these days, and results speak the loudest of all. Well, these keys have led me to manifesting incredible results, such as an Inc. fastest growing private company, uncanny health, incredible relationships, and success with this podcast. However, I'm not any more special than you, and anyone can apply this information to achieve incredible results in their own life. I also believe waking up our planet by sharing these keys to abundance is the quickest way to help us to transition our home into the planet of paradise it is destined to become. Which is why I'd like to gift the book to you at goldenkey.gift when you use the golden key code POSITIVEHEAD. I would also like to invite you to create your own unique golden key code so you in turn can gift the book to others, as well as invite you to participate in a unique abundance manifestation game with me and the other readers that is outlined in detail at the end of the book and on the website, where readers are also going to share the inspiring results of their abundance manifestation experiments. Lastly, I'm going to practice what I preach by sharing 50% of the abundance generated from the golden game and sale of the other golden goodies on the website with you and all the other readers. So if you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. Also, if you end up loving and appreciating your gifted copy of the book, please take a moment to go to Amazon and give it a review, which will greatly help me reach and unlock more hearts with the golden key.
I love that. Yeah, so good. It's such a good lesson, and just it, for everyone out there, it's something that is, it's an active thing. It's like you forget, and you misspeak, and then you remember and you bring it back. So does anyone else have any or Brandon, did you want to add something to that?
I was going to invite and prod Erica to say something because I know she has
I've been waiting. I've been patiently waiting over here for my turn. It's so funny. B, I love what you said there about how we came here to experience, because really we're doing just that. And what's beautiful about it is that we have this choice, and we have the choice to choose fear or choose love, to listen to our conscious mind or to listen to our higher self. And so, like Karen, when you were saying, like, when those negative thoughts come in, like, what do you do? Well, what I've learned to do is, like, I've learned to listen to different sides of my brain, because we have the left side, which is our conscious mind, which is this human side that is seeing the reality that's seemingly around us. And then we have the right side, which is our creative side, our intuitive side, the side that's our higher self speaking to us. And it actually sounds different if we really pay attention. The left side is like in your head, right? And the right side, when I hear it anyway, it comes like, it's a little bit above. And that side is always loving. It's never scaring me. It's not putting me down. And so I make these choices, like which one to listen to, right? And like Daniel was saying at the beginning, manifesting is really becoming that vibrational match to your higher self. So if we're always listening to that side, and that's really too for me where the surrender comes in, like letting go of the control. I can't control it. this human side of me really wants to, but I can't. So I just have to let go of that and let my higher self make those decisions, because when I'm true with that being and I vibrate on that level, that's where my access to infinite potential and possibility is just right there at my fingertips, right there. So easy, because I believe it, right? And that's the big thing about the belief. The more you focus on one side or the other, that's where your belief is going to be. So you have to make that decision to choose to focus on one side. And when you hear that conscious mind coming in with those negative thoughts, you just say, stop it. Stop it. I'm going to listen to the other side.
Oh, that's
Erica.
so resonates with me.
I love
Oh
that.
my gosh, yes, Jens, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to share to add on to what Erica was saying, because I really, at the turn of this new year, I vowed to myself to really get intimate with my higher self and just build a relationship with me, and just looking at, ways I could spend time with my higher self, ways I can connect. And I think that it really, what that means to me is just quieting that mind and quieting all of the other programs that's running me, so that I could just connect deeply with my heart, and doing whatever that, in whatever way that looks like. I think it's different for everyone, but really just settling the dust so that that connection is strong, and that the messages come stronger too in that guidance. Because I think that, yeah, I huge believer in just co-creation. And you know I definitely try to control every which way of my life before, and and really like throw my hands up, because I know that there is a greater power, that there is this whole this relationship, and with the universe, and how everything is unfolding for me. So I think it's I really resonated with that, and just building a relationship with that true inner self, that knows the highest virtue is fullest expression of my soul, that wants to be expressed. So thank you. That's the end of my share.
Awesome. Love it, love it, love it. Jenner, you're up on the stage. Hello there.
Yay.
And I see Aggie is also taking her microphone off. So I'd love to hear from both of you.
Gee, hey guys. Thanks for inviting me. This is so exciting. Like so many of my favorite people in one space.
Aww.
I don't have like a ton to share, but something I've been thinking about a lot lately is like this idea of like like knowing how to order from the server of the universe in relation to like manifestation in your life. And a lot of times we don't know how to order because we're so focused on what we don't want and what we don't like in our life. And so like the server comes up to the table and we're like, well, I don't want this. And they're like, yeah, dude, we know. Like, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's like, for me, it's about training myself and my mind through that connection to my higher self and my soul tribe, and my higher truth of just like, what is it that I want? Like, if I'm just like on a personal level or on a macro, like global societal level, like, if I'm not happy with the world, what kind of world do I want to create? Like, why don't I expend that energy imagining what like my ideal world would be like, or taking that down to a micro level with my personal life in every aspect, and just like understanding what I do want has really helped me tell the server of the universe exactly what to cook up
with a side of fries.
Hell yeah.
I really like that. I just wanted to add in really quick too, like knowing what you want is so important. And I think that like the idea of our desire, like our true desire is really what our higher self wants. It's not what our human self wants, right? It's like, that's totally different. But our inner desire, that's what our higher self is going to follow through with. And that is how we manifest.
I also want to add that, when you know what it is that you want, and let's say a situation arises with a relationship or a person in your life or family member, and it's funny because uh, you'll be faced, or I was faced personally with a situation where I had to speak out what I wanted, and even at the discomfort of someone else, let's say. And I think in the act of saying it to that person or out loud is also an act of saying it to the universe so that they're like, got it. Okay, that's what you're ordering. And so I think it's just that putting it into action, knowing what it is, and then like putting it into action, just doing it and exercising that so that the message is received.
Yeah, I love that. And I love what Jenner shared about, I love the server analogy because it's so true. I always say, when you come holding your bag of sugar to be examined, it will be, well, when you come holding your bag of sugar out to be filled, it will be examined to see how large it is. And it's like, okay, what are you ordering? How much do you think you're worthy of ordering? This is a big part of manifestation. And the biggest pitfall along the way for people is that, oh my gosh, this is what I don't want. This is what I don't want. This is what I don't want. And it, as Janice, I think, kind of touched on a little bit, was like, okay, not seeing, or getting the contrast. Like Abraham talks about this a lot. If that by getting an idea of what you don't want, it really helps you to determine what you do want. So it's serving you. It's giving you the contrast. Where people miss the mark is then now I just continue to focus on this thing that I don't want, when the way it's meant to be used properly is, oh, okay, I had this experience, this relationship, and this person has this particular attribute. Okay, I definitely don't want that again. So instead of continuing to focus or stay in a situation or situations that's present, using using that information to then go and discern with it, right? And so I think that's where one of the biggest pitfalls for most people manifesting is just like they get so energetically attached to the understanding of what they don't want that and meanwhile you as a creator, the creative being that we are, that we're the creator and created rolled into one. We buy what we pay attention to, what we give our energy to, we're creating more of. So it's so clutch to like see it. Okay, I acknowledge it now. It's why Mother Teresa, when they asked her to march against the war in Vietnam, she said, I'll never do that, but have march for peace, and I'll be there, because she understood that which you resist persists. You're giving it energy. So this is such a key part of this puzzle.
I love this, where this conversation's going, and I'd love to kind of tie those two ideas together too, because we're talking about getting rid of self-limiting beliefs and also speaking what you do want. And this is something that I found in myself, where it's like when I'm having those self-limiting beliefs, it's like you're telling yourself, oh, I feel so terrible, oh, I can't do this is so hard. And just it's so simple. And Jenna, I also love what you said. I'm gonna forever remember that. I think order from the server of the universe, because it's so true. And it's kind of wild how sometimes it'll be so simple. It's just like, hey, I'd like to feel better now. I'm ready to feel better. And how powerful that can be, just putting that out there, that I want to feel better now. I just kind of want to tie those two ideas together, because I think sometimes when we talk about speaking in order to manifest things, we think more about those kind of big picture things of like, writing down, I already have $1 million, I have the job, or, kind of big things like that. But it also can be applied to just those like everyday moment to moment. How do you want to experience what's in front of you? And just saying, this feels good, I'm enjoying this, even if there's some part of you that's not.
Yeah, finding peace with what is what I you're not always going to be happy with what is, but we can really get into a place where we can be at peace with what's happening. And I believe that is, as we continue on this infinite elevator, ascending into you know, who knows what what it will be like. We can kind of guess what it will be like to be our you know, higher self and God self and, you know, all these things as we continue to evolve, what that looks and feels like. But until we're there, you know, there's some speculation, right? I mean, just the idea that 1 billion Earth years from now, you will exist in some now moment, experiencing self, right? And it's just like, okay, we better get used to the change and the challenges and the, you know, all the things that come along the way, and learning to move into our center and becoming the eye of the storm, you know, the the unmoved mover, as I've heard like the creator referred to before. And I love that. It's like, become that one, that center that is just able to manage your nervous system in all scenarios, and in just, you know, even if you don't, it's not what you chose to manifest, you're at peace. You can find peace because you trust the process that you're involved in. And make no mistake, we're in a process that is never ending, so we might as well stop you know, swimming upstream and making it painful as much as we can.
Hey, so Brandon, I wanted
Yes.
to ask a question, like a practical question about this, because so my day job is I'm a school psychologist in a middle school, and the like I love that part about not speaking negatively and being very careful with your words. Like we try to do that when we are with kids, and we try to have kids do that with, you know, the staff and amongst themselves, and only have like words of not necessarily kindness, but not negativity, you know, that's going to hurt someone in some way. So my question is, um, the way that you practice manifestation, is that something that could be used with like middle schoolers and high schoolers, or are these ideas like too, you know, cerebral for them? Because if you say, hey, you know, go with the universe or ask for what you want, like it's not going to work. At least, you know, from my experience, they need very concrete, action oriented things to work off of. You know what I mean? So how would you go about doing that with or can you not do it with a population of kids? That's, you know, my question.
What a great question. I love this question, and I would love to hear other people's thoughts who are here as well. My instant reaction to it is, you know, I'm thinking of my childlike self, and it's like that inner child. We like games, right? We make it playful with them, invite them to explore the possibility that they have more control maybe than they've been led to believe. You know, suggesting that, hey, you can actually affect, you know, you want to win the game, don't react. It's like, you know, who remembers when they were a kid and it was like, okay, you know, the parents are exhausted from kids being so noisy. Okay, we're gonna have a game. Who can not talk the longest? And all of a sudden they're like tricked into like being quiet. And so it's sort of like that. Like if you can get playful with a kid around it, I think that is really, you know, invite them to explore the ideas and see what kind of results it gets for them. And you know, the thing about kids is they're infinite souls too. And oftentimes, I mean, I think of my own son when he was, you know, 5 years old. You talk to him and you're like, oh my gosh, like who is this sage? You know, he would just freak people out because he had such a, you know, old soul, like profound energy, you know, and he was so little. He was like really small for his age too. So he like looked like he was 3. He was 5, and he sounded like he was 20. And people are like, well, what's happening? So I think that's important, Aggie, to consider, especially now, is like we're, you know, anyone who's a kid now is coming to, you know, 3D reality, well, later than us, right? More recent than us. So, you know, a lot of these kids that are showing up are these are very wise, experienced souls, and they just need to be given the right invitation, and obviously there's you don't want to force it down their throat or get too far out there where they can't understand it. But I think if you can make it playful, like challenging them to that person that they have a problem with, the other kid. Hey, I've got this game for you. Try. I dare you to try sending them really good feelings and loving energy and positive energy when you're looking at this. Sending them, because here's the thing. The reason they're acting this way to you is because they're hurting, and giving, just like teaching them a little bit about the psychology of what's really going on. And this is what the really, wise people, adults, are able to do. They're able to help shift this person with their own power. Don't you want to have powers? This is like like tying it into kid talk, which really that's all we all are, is giant kids. We all have that inner child, and I still want to be a wizard when I grow up, or a time traveler, or both. Yes, a time traveling sorcerer, please. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that topic. Who else has some thoughts?
I would love to chime in here, because I actually have some experience working with that age population and trying to incorporate these ideas. I am a speech language pathologist, and I've worked with pretty much the whole range of ages. And, definitely agree with what Brandon is saying, which it's like, kids love games. And just to answer your question of, would this work with middle schoolers? Not only, yes, will it work, it's actually a super, super important time, a really crucial, pivotal time in their lives to reinstill these ideas in them so that they can enter into adulthood, with a very good foundation. And the reason I say reinstill is because as younger children, as toddlers, this is actually something that younger children are very comfortable with. They're very comfortable with these kinds of ideas of being able to control their environment, and they're constantly imagining and then seeing things and seeing patterns and catching the synchronicities, and that's where they live. That's how most of us are born, with a few rare exceptions. And middle school is actually a time when hormones start to come into play, this terrible feeling of being like in a house of mirrors and everybody's looking at you, and you start to get self-conscious. And that's when those like limiting beliefs that we're talking about in this kind of negative self-talk really begins to emerge. And so to introduce these concepts to middle school age children is crucial. And having said that, I do understand your Aggie, your kind of your hesitation of, can I really be talking to these kids about esoteric ideas? Is it going to be way over their head? And my answer would be, it really depends on the kid that you're working with. And you can kind of gauge as you get to know them, like how, just kind of the lingo that you can use, but realizing that there are really grounded, simple ways to incorporate these ideas without going, full in right away, talking about like, hey, by the way, you're one with everything that exists, and everything that you do impacts every other person, and you're one with the cosmos, and you're a star. Like, before you go there, you can do simple things like introducing the ideas of mantras, having them create their own mantras and write them, and just kind of start there with actionable activities that are really grounded. And then as you start to practice and get into it, you can, test the waters and see if you can explore those deeper layers. But at the very least, again, you're setting a foundation for them as they step into high school and adulthood to be more primed for these, quote unquote, higher level ideas.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
also
Thank
wanted
you.
to add, Aggie, one other thing. I think a lot of it has to do with the way that you word it for the kids, because these really esoteric ideas, in reality, I feel like they only become esoteric when we're adults. In childhood, it's almost like that's the way kids experience life, kind of like what Karen was saying. So, like my mom, who was in the audience until now, Heidi, I wish she was in here for this, but had she taught me like at a really young age, hey, your words are your superpower, so be really careful how you speak, I would have probably had a way different way of languaging my life. I would have probably said less hurtful things to people. I probably would have been able to understand the concept of manifestation from childhood, you know, that like one of my superpowers is what I speak, I can eventually create. So it's kind of like making it a little bit playful, almost watering it down to the most granular, like tiny grain of salt of understanding this concept. And I think they will be able to handle it. How old are they?
So I work with middle schoolers, so they're like between the ages like 12 and 15.
I think by then definitely they'll be able to handle it. Also, too, one thing to note is that kids that age now are exposed to so much more than you and I were at that age, because this is a generation that's growing up on the internet and they've got access, unlimited access to information and memes and concepts and music and all sorts of stuff that's high vibrational that we did not have access to unless we sought out. It's just in their face all the time. So yeah, I think that go for it for sure. And where they don't understand it, they'll ask, right?
Thank you.
I have to pop out in a few minutes, but no, I don't have to. I get to pop out.
Good catch.
But I just wanted to jump in here and like also suggest, you know, meeting them where they're at and with analogies that they're already familiar with, that they use, that they love, they consume. I think like equating it to an operating system on a phone or a computer game is also really interesting. You know, like you're getting upgraded, like, and it might make certain apps glitchy, and that's like old limiting belief systems, you know. So like kind of equating it to these like experiences and concepts that they already are super familiar with. And like, you know, kind of what Brandon was saying earlier about like what you focus your attention on is ultimately what you manifest more in your life. That's the same, and we know this, we've had experience with like algorithms on social media platforms. If you're like talking about something with a friend, or you're like googling something like, oh, I need a new mattress cover, then all of a sudden you get inundated with all of these ads for like mattress covers, and you're like, oh shit, like I don't need this anymore, or I wasn't that serious about it, or I was just having a conversation with my friend about it. And so that's kind of an analogy that they might be more familiar with, like in the digital capacity of explaining like what you are searching for online is ultimately what you're going to get served up ads. What you're focusing your energy on with your thoughts is ultimately what you're going to manifest more in your life. So I think tying it to things that they already love and get can help make it easier.
Thank you.
I think that's a really good point too. It's like that they're already playing in these realms. Like think of, they're literally in their imagination. I mean, I guess 12 to 15 it's starting to kind of get conditioned out of that, but you know, especially younger ones, it's like for them you would think some of it might be more difficult, but they have the advantage of they're still playing in the imagination so much and haven't been sold on how limited, you know, their abilities and potential is. And so yeah, something just important to note, I think.
This imagination thing is what I think is so important. And yeah, these kids are so much more aware at this age now. And because their imagination is starting to go, I think it would be fun, like with what everybody has been saying already, like to play imagination games with them so they can start, or not start, but to reignite and to strengthen that side of their brain, because that's where they're going to be able to manifest from, because within the imagination is where all the potential and possibility lies. And so the more they can strengthen that, then they just have that access, and it's like their tool.
Right. And one more thing I just want to add to the conversation is also don't underestimate. Don't underestimate these younger kids. You might be really surprised what they are able to understand, or even if they're not consciously able to understand, if you kind of every once in a while throw out something that's, maybe a little bit over their head, but it can plant the seed or it can get them curious. And, this is something that Brandon talks about, that, there's, I think, let's see if I can quote him, like, there's nothing I can tell you that your higher self doesn't already know. Did I get that right, Brandon?
Been there, done
Ding,
that,
ding,
and bought the
ding.
t-shirt.
It's about remembering what we've forgotten.
Right, exactly. So, even though, initially, maybe right off the bat, if you say something, they might not completely be able to grasp or comprehend. But if you just every once in a while planting that seed, like, don't forget, like, you are one with everything, and everyone you see is a reflection of you. They might kind of look at you like, huh? But they're going to think about it. They're going to wonder about it. And maybe later in their life or later in their journey, that's something that kind of stuck with them. And as they start to go down a more spiritual journey and they're getting older and they can unlock, they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's what my school psychologist was talking about when she said that all those years ago. Oh my gosh, she knew. So yeah, not underestimating their ability as well is super important.
Yes, Karen.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, you guys. Thank you.
That's such a great topic. I'm so glad that came up. And I'm looking at the clock. It is almost 7 o'clock here in SoCal, and we're almost to an hour. So is there anyone that has any last comments, questions, thoughts that they'd like to share as we wind down? All right. Well,
Suppose not.
then going once, going twice. Well, this has been great. Wow, time so flies doing this. It's so great to have such a tight, close-knit group to just connect with like this. And everyone had so many great shares and questions and thoughts. And I just appreciate you all for just being here and supporting and checking this out. And if any of you would like to, I'm putting these out on the Positive Head podcast on Fridays is the experiment we've been doing. So you will be making a little appearance there, which is why it says it's recorded. And anyone else have anything they want to say before we close out?
I'm just going to really quick, synchronistically, the show that I'm releasing today on the podcast is basically what we talked about today.
Of course it is. And Erica is my co-hostess with the mostest. She is on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You get to hear her very pleasant voice as opposed to whatever you would call mine. And so, of course, we're always, you can imagine there's so much synchronicity that flows between us. And I love it. So, and I love you all. Thank you for showing up, Beta, Karen, you guys helping to hold it down. Janice for being here again. Everyone who's come and gone. Thank you. Thank you. Love you guys so much. Until next time, journey well.
Love you, B. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Love you
Thank
all.
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Also, quickly, before we sign off, I wanted to remind you to download the Golden Key, audio or ebook, as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the code POSITIVEHEAD. I also wanted to remind you that I will now be doing a live Q&A every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time on the new social audio app Clubhouse. I have really been wanting to connect and interact with all of you more for quite some time, and I'm super excited to now have 2 new ways to do it. First, if you're already on Clubhouse, be sure to follow me and click the little bell on my profile and select to always be notified when I go live on the Clubhouse app. And if you'd like to connect on an even more intimate Zoom gathering once a month, now you can do that too by registering at goldenkey.gift.